Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You get divorced. You get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Hello, and welcome back to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, and a little bit of laughter, because as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. We're here today with a fresh starts expert and amazing human, one of my favorite people to always talk to, and so happy that she's in our world, the wonderful Liz Pharo, who is here from divorce.com, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. Liz, who are you? What do you do? What is divorce.com? All the things.
Oh, I love your energy, Olivia. I always do. Thank you for having me on today. I'm Liz Pharo. I'm the CEO of divorce.com. And at divorce.com, we are bold enough to say that we are creating societal change by, reducing the time, cost, uncertainty, and unnecessary trauma in divorce.
Yes, which is one of the reasons we partnered with you guys over a year ago, and we love recommending divorce.com. I talk to women going through a divorce pretty much almost every day at this point, and the amount of women that come to me that say, I can't afford this, but I need to get out, and I just always recommend go to divorce.com, go talk to one of their people. So I think people still don't understand, Liz. Like, you can absolutely get divorced on the internet. How does this work?
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's helpful to just break down what divorce really even is from a legal standpoint. It was a big aha moment for me to understand that. And it really is, it's paperwork, right? So you have an agreement that's documented that you both sign. So it's a contract, essentially. And then you need to file that with the court system to make it legal. So that's it in a nutshell. What is, specific is how do you get into an agreement, right? And so I think I like to think about three different ways to get into an agreement. One is you and your spouse just sit down and kind of work it out together. That's sort of called a kitchen table divorce or an uncontested divorce. And so there's that. Then there's a mediated divorce, which basically, I think of a mediator as being a facilitator or kind of a camp counselor that sort of helps y'all sit down, cut a deal, and then again, document that and then file it with the court. Or you can do what I call the War of the Roses divorce, which is kind of what traditional divorce looks like, where both parties really lawyer up and start filing motions through the court system.
Right.
To basically then ultimately have the lawyer sit down and negotiate a deal, document it, and file it. So the latter part is very inefficient, but it is what people really think of as divorce, right? So that's really what divorce is in my mind. What divorce.com does is we ask you a bunch of questions. So demographic-based questions about, where you live, who you are, your age, your kids, what are your assets, what are your debts, income, expenses, you name it. And then we also ask you, who should keep this house, or should we split this house and sell this house, or what's the kids' custody schedule? We ask you kind of a lot of those types of questions. And then produce paperwork, and then we file it on your behalf. Divorce.com also has a team of mediators that essentially facilitate you guys getting an agreement so that we can do all of that. We also use lawyers. So we use lawyers to do document reviews, or just if people have like legal questions they want answered. We have a network of attorneys. And so we're just kind of, disrupting, if you will, the way that traditional divorce has worked so inefficiently.
So talk us through the price points of this, Liz.
Yeah, so for $4.99, you guys could sit down, work out all your differences, answer a questionnaire, produce paperwork, and you're done. So then you've got to go, down to the courthouse, file it yourself, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, we for $12.99, we assist you with all of that. So basically, it's more of a white glove. You have a case manager that's an American that you can text with or get on a call with or whatever. And all that kind of thing. So you would, again, you go through the questionnaire. You have gotten an agreement yourself, right? And you answer the questions. We produce the paperwork. We file it on your behalf and just kind of support you along the way. And then we have what's called fully guided, which we're maybe even considering changing the name to just mediated divorce,
Mhm.
where you have a case manager. That's $2,000. You have a case manager, and you have 4 mediation sessions, like kind of totaling up to, I believe, 6 hours of mediation to kind of talk you through those big key decisions and facilitate that.
Mhm.
And, again, we'll answer the questionnaire, we'll produce paperwork, and we'll file it on your behalf. I'm kind of the opinion that everybody can use a little bit of mediation, even if, you think you're in agreement. You
Totally.
never
Yeah.
know. You might get to the very end and we're all
Mhm.
fighting over a set of china or
Yeah. Yep.
a poster from a concert or something like
Mhm.
that. And
Mhm.
so, kind of having a third party in the room that just kind of facilitates an adult conversation during a difficult time is very helpful. And so for
Super helpful.
$2,000, like, just feels like a no-brainer to go the
Mhm.
fully guided way.
Mhm.
Given I mean, this is an important thing in everybody's life, and it needs to be done right.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So, I love that. So, super affordable. I mean, when I think about how much I spent on my divorce even just for 1 hour of the lawyer,
Right.
it's, a lot more than that. So what are just a couple of the benefits of using divorce.com, Liz?
Okay, so not only do you save tons of money, right? I mean, the money thing is so, something like 42% of divorces in the US cost between $20 and $40,000.
Yep.
And really the average American family has about 120,000 in net assets. And I mean, that includes all assets, right? The
Right.
house, the car, 401k, all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. Really 12,000 is what I read is liquid assets is the
If
average
that.
American
Yeah.
family. So if you think about a divorce that costs between $20 and $40,000, you're putting the family already in liquidity bankruptcy. You're essentially, giving away half of their net worth
Yep.
to a lawyer,
Yep.
right? To just fight on how to split it up. Whereas if we just went halvesies, right, and
Yep.
documented that, like, let's move on.
Mhm.
So obviously there's the money thing. Then just doing anything through the court system. And I mean, technically divorce is a lawsuit. So you're
Mhm.
filing a lawsuit against your spouse. But when we start it that way by filing, our first petition for divorce and being served and all that, it's just so anxiety provoking, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And like it just even if you have some sort of reasonableness and some ability to look back and say, "Hey, I did love this person before. This person is, the father of my children. Like,
Mhm.
I I want what's best for him, so that's what's
Yeah.
best for the kids," and, like,
Yeah.
all that kinda stuff. Like, I think when you're served with a lawsuit and you just get anxious, right? And so, like,
Mhm.
we don't do any of that, right?
Yeah.
And it's faster because you're not, waiting on the court and fighting through the court. It sets you up for co-parenting better later too, right? Because you
Mhm.
haven't had this like horrible divorce, is dragged on for forever and nobody has any money anymore. You can move on with your life.
So if somebody's listening to this and they would like to get in touch, what's the best way to get started with divorce.com?
Just go to divorce.com. Open up
Perfect.
any web browser and type it in.
Easy, easy. And it's going to obviously be in the show notes. And you can reach out if you have any questions. We will answer them or we will help you to get answers for them. Liz, we appreciate you so much. Now, as somebody that's also been through a divorce, if somebody's listening to this and they are going through a divorce, probably they are because it's called Divorce Happens.
Right.
What would be some wise words you could leave them with today?
You will get on the other side of this. It is just so scary right now. It is very, very hard to make the decision to get divorced. Some people can make it faster or slower, but it's a very big decision, and it's just a terrible time right now. If you're sitting there getting ready to go through a divorce, it's just, even if it's a nice one and you guys want to work together, I mean, just it's rough. So just know that. Also know that tons of people out there have been through it, right? And have made it to the other side. I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you will get to the other side. You will be happy again. You're going to have to mourn the loss of your marriage, right? And I mean, you'll get to the other side of this. Just put one foot in front of the other. Really try to treat your spouse, as difficult as it may be, how you wish to be treated. Put your kids first. Encourage your spouse to put the kids first too. If the two of you can use what's best for the kids as your North Star in this negotiation, you'll get through it.
I love that. I love that. Well, we appreciate you so much, Liz, and we appreciate everything you are trying to do to disrupt the divorce industry and change the world and empower people through their divorce. And we're so happy that, we're friends and partners, and we're just really excited to see what's going to come up the, pipeline for divorce.com. And if somebody is listening to this and they are like, this is a wonderful option, please click the link in the show notes and get in touch. And you can also find a lot of information about divorce.com on Fresh Starts Registry also. Thank you so much, Liz.
Hey, thank you. It's so great to see you today.
Always good to see you. Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. Head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.